any description I can give you. The case involving Cuomo and Hochul. Oh, I didn't know. Oh, gee, they only worked here for 15 years. Well, I didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't know that Taiwan gave us mass, thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands, and I wasn't allowed to thank them. I had to thank China. Yeah, they gave us the disease, and then they gave us the mass that don't work. Andrew, for that you got to give the Emmy back. Now, Hochul, you didn't know anything about her. You just kept never saying anything harsh about China. You were part of the chorus that accused Trump of xenophobia, uh, which you probably don't know what it means, uh, for saying the truth that China was sending the people here as agents of death, and he saved maybe 1 million of our lives by stopping them, only to be criticized by the Communist Chorus of America, led by Pelosi and Biden. Now, Biden has good reason for it, Hochul. He's got millions, more than you're going to get for that stadium in Buffalo. What are you selling out for? Why are you all selling out? What the hell? You have Walls as your candidate of your party for? You don't even question him. The guy is sent there to be groomed by China. It's obvious as hell by Harvard. He goes to China 30 times. I haven't gone to China without their searching me. I haven't gone to China with their trying to take everything on my phone, except I'm told by the State Department to bring a burner phone. What about him? As a congressman with the clearance he had to have permission every time he went. Did he? As a member of the military, ha ha, he did. Did he? Anybody looking at it? Anybody asking him? Look, until you ask him the questions and I get the answers, I will consider him, for the safety of my nation, an active worker for Red China. Because every one of the logical thing points to that. Unanswered, they yell it out. And this isn't a court. This isn't presumed innocent, presumed guilty. This is how do you protect the freedom of the United States of America? By assuming the worst. You don't even have to assume the worst. You have to assume the logical. He's a communist. The guy on our ticket, no joking around, worked for Red China. You don't go there 30 times unless you're working for him. Sorry. You don't go there to teach with academic freedom. Academic freedom in China? We don't have it in the US. The attack on free speech is out of control in this country. Zuckerberg sort of illustrated that with his letter, right? He didn't need much more than that. He didn't tell the absolute truth by any chance, but he told enough of the truth so you can figure out that these people are unbelievable advocates of cracking down on speech. She's even using the phony, I'm on the phone thing with the press. Is there anything real about her? I always wonder about Pelosi because at times it looked like she didn't have an original body part on her face when she would have trouble like smiling. Like that. So now I worry about her because every day 3 or 4 phony things come out about it. The latest is, of course, her new trick, which isn't much of a trick, Jerko. Everybody does this. Every phony idiot in the world does it. Now, I don't really care, except 47 days without answering questions to the press live. And you want to be president of my country? Whatever happened to? Let's try some other version of free speech. The public right to know no longer exists because we no longer have newspapers. No, those are not newspapers. Those are publicity rags for the Democratic National Committee. They even repeat the key word, whatever the key word of the day is. They just repeat it, including the Times. So, given the fact that we don't have a free press any longer, or anything close to it, their answering questions and being transparent is critical to our right to know. What she thinks of our right to know is go to hell. 47 days, no question and answer. Sorry, the thing with Dana Trump bash was not an exercise of free speech. Not when half of it or more is on the cutting room floor. Not when it's pre-recorded. Not when more of it is made up of electioneering B-roll and advertisements. It's actually a campaign commercial that you should be sued for if the Republican National Committee had a pair of. Sorry, get annoyed with me. You're not doing much better than the last one. You're letting them cheat already. You're letting Benson cheat. You're letting them all cheat. You let them cheat without real condemnation when they tried to take Trump off the ballot. Should have moved for the removal of every one of those secretaries of state who did. Then Benson wouldn't be around, screwing around again. She screwed around in the last election. I can give you plenty of those. Republican National Committee. I know it's really important to say ahead of the Republican National Committee. You've got to put your ass on the line. This is a make it or break it election. There's only one way they can win. You know what that is. So do we have a picture of Cackling Kamala doing her latest? I think she has the brain of about a 10 or 12-year-old. You know, Russia is a big country. Ukraine is a small country. Why don't we play this? I mean, she really does look like a infantile. Do we have it? Oh, there she is. There. Oh, that her. Come on, Cackling. That got her. She heard it. See her waving on the plane? See, she's waving. She can wave. She can wave. She can wave.
So the issue is here, of course, she's got headphones.
We don't have the video?
I'll take a second. The video's
okay. We're not going to spend forever waiting for the video. So what she does is she gets out of the car and she pretends to be talking on her. There she is. She what a salute. Boy, oh, there you go. Forget it. There we are. I'm on the phone. I'm talking to
Here's the video.
Here we go. There she is. There she goes. There. A question. What about the killing the American? Who gives a shit about the American? That's what she's saying to herself. If she gave a shit about the American, she would have gone the 4 miles to the ceremony for them that she then falsely claimed was a Trump political stunt, only to be met by every one of the families of the Gold Star soldiers that she helped kill, saying that she's a disgrace to humanity and a liar. Well, when you have a small mind like hers that fails the bar exam, she's back to her phrase again. I bet her new handlers, and they really should get them from the. I would think the remedial education group pegged at about 7 years old, but she's back to her unburdened by what might have been. She did it again the other day. We have dreams. We can see what's possible. Unburdened by what? You know what that means? Wipe out history. Unburdened by what is been. She said it 1,000 times. It comes from a book that we know she didn't read because she doesn't read, called Das Kapital. And it says if you want to take over a country, you've got to unburden them about what has been their history. That's why they burn statues. That's why they change history, like say that America invented slavery, which was around before the Bible, before pre-recorded times. America didn't had it brought here, including by blacks. Slavery in Africa was just as prolific as it was in Asia, Europe, and America. So slavery is a part of the human condition, unfortunately, which reached some of its worst moments in America, and some of its most glorious. White men dying to free black men. That didn't happen, I don't think, in Europe, Africa, Asia. I can't remember that. Maybe. A couple 100,000 white men dying to free black men. We don't credit that. All we do is say what horrible animals black men are, what a terrible history they have. I mean, white men are, what terrible history they have, how they're systemically racist. Hell of a thing being systemically racist and going to die to free somebody. Heck of a thing being systemically racist and vote for him for president. But she's unburdened by what has been. She knows what that means. I don't think so. I think she just says words. I think she has a very small brain, which failing the bar exam indicates. And we have dreams. We can see what is possible, unburdened by what has been. In other words, we have no history. We have no background. We can just accept Marxism, which is the reason she chose Tim Wall. Now, her attacks on free speech are part of her history, of course, left out by the communist press. In 2019, as the incompetent, ridiculous, laughable Attorney General of California, she lobbied the infamous Jack Censor Dorsey, who censored the hard drive and everything else that would have shown us that Joe Biden was a 30-year criminal. And she actually lobbied him to remove the Republican Party candidate from Twitter, to take away his right of free speech. How's that as an indication that you're not an American? You don't understand the basic thing about American free speech. You belong to something else, but it isn't America. We don't want you, Kamala. I mean, you're too damn stupid, and you're too damn disloyal. Now, Jake Tapper, that very, very guy that's tough on the Democrats, added that how he said this must have been a real slip. Well, he said, wouldn't this result in a slippery slope where they have to, ban about half the people on Twitter? Harris went on to outline her own view of the law, which is consistent with Red China and Soviet Russia. Her view of the law, which she could have expressed maybe on a bar exam when California still abided by American law. Now she probably passed a bar exam. She said, free online expression is a privilege, and that censorship is necessary to defend our democracy. As Ms. McCoy points out, Betsy McCoy, who will be interviewing tomorrow, that's exactly, almost verbatim, what 7 or 8 tyrants in the last 100 years have said. Free online expression is a privilege, and censorship is necessary to defend our democracy. That's somewhere in the Bill of Rights, isn't it? Censorship is necessary. You have a right to censorship to defend our democracy. Where's that in the Bill of Rights? Oh, that was written by those slave owners. We don't pay attention to the Bill of Rights anymore. We make it up as we go along. What does Xi Jinping say about that? You get money from him for that. We're going to take a short break and we'll be right back. Delivers on its promise to do good and never forget the sacrifices America's greatest heroes have made for us. Heroes who risked their lives to keep our communities and our country safe. Heroes like United States Marine Corps Captain and pilot John Jeremy Sachs. Captain Sachs sustained fatal injuries when his military aircraft crashed during training, killing him and 5 other service members. He's remembered by loved ones as courageous, brilliant, and devoted to his career, family, and friends. John is survived by his wife, Amber, who gave birth to their second daughter 3 months after his death. Tunnel to Towers paid the mortgage on the family home for Amber and their 2 daughters. The foundation has helped over 1,000 military and first responder families navigate the worst of times by removing the burden of a mortgage payment. Our nation's heroes and their families need your help now more than ever. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. T2T.org. That's T, the number 2T.org. T2T.org. Please donate now.
You're back, Mayor.
This is Rudy Giuliani back again. Several people have expressed doubt that Kamala Harris would say such a thing so similar to Castro, Hitler, Stalin, Morales, Maduro, all the communists, big and small, would say. And they actually said, if I'm right, they're going to vote for Trump and vote against her. So let's see. See if I'm right. Ted?
I need a second. Yeah, it's not ready.
Oh, I thought you said it was ready. Well, we'll change the subject. And what we'll go to is alien crime, which is prevalent all over the country. Let me just take you right here to New York City. We have a place called Rikers Island. Rikers Island is the prison. And last night we talked to Mike about how the migrants are causing an enormous amount of trouble there. But we also have a Randall's Island where we put the so-called non-criminal ones, except they commit crimes over and over again. A 26-year-old migrant punched a security guard at Randall's Island, then attacked the responding cops Tuesday morning. The problem is he had done it a month before. How many times, Mike? Mike is an expert on Rikers, but he's an expert on these migrants in general. How many times do you get to punch around a cop before you either get jailed or sent out of the country?
Well, Mayor,
Or do you get an award?
back when you were mayor, it would be one time. But apparently these days, when you assault a police officer, you get out of jail immediately. So it's kind of like Monopoly, right? You get a get out of jail free card. So, in Rikers Island right now, we have the most violent criminals because the Democrat DAs are letting out everybody for
everybody.
minimum for all these charges, like you said, and all these migrants are just coming into this city. They're coming in undocumented, and like I was talking about on Dr. Maria's show Monday, that gang Trendiagua, whatever their name is,
Yeah.
they ride up on scooters, right up on you. They steal your chain, they steal your phone, and then they just ride off into the night. And by the time NYPD gets there, they can't find them because these guys are undocumented and they wear masks. And I think that Nassau County mask ban was a great idea. They already caught a bunch of people. They caught a guy. He had a machete on him, the size of it was like a foot long. He was walking around with a mask on, and Nassau County cops caught him, and he had a machete in his backpack. So maybe we need to start doing that in New York City. Imagine how many migrants will catch committing crimes before they started.
So Adams, Harris, Biden, Mayorkas,
Mayorki.
Mayorki. They all deny that there's any kind of. These are just regular people. They want to be huddled by the frozen masses, and they want a job.
Well,
and they're not a whole group disproportionately of criminals who are raping, beating, and stealing from it.
I mean, May, I'll tell you right now, on Rikers Island, it used to be predominantly African American detainees, and now it's actually an influx of Hispanic. It's getting almost 50-50 because of,
And
migrant
50,
influx.
the 50 are the migrants.
Yeah, it's
illegal,
Hispanic.
illegal
I'm saying Hispanic. Yeah, it used to be
Venezuela, Honduras,
probably.
Ecuador.
Yeah, that's probably where. Central America.
Pretty soon, maybe you'll get to see Oswaldo Madrid Verduro, who is now in his 4th attack on cops and not seen a prison. And they don't bother to even tell you. They say he's an illegal migrant. But now I guess it doesn't matter. They come from all over. They don't tell you where he came from. Maybe when you meet him, you can ask him, hey, Oswaldo.
Well, I saw some
duck, and then say, Oswaldo, where do you come from?
Well, I saw some interesting facts people were putting on Twitter, May, that some liberal states were calling Hispanic males coming from other countries when they were arresting them white to hide that they were Hispanic. Yeah, that's
they were. You know this migrant. Look at this. What do you have on, Ted? Oh, that on?
Yeah.
Ted. So, I mean, the reality is this has been going on for 2 or 3 years, and they hide it. And we called this out about 8 or 9 months ago when the Lake and Riley thing happened. Right. These crimes, first of all, don't get reported.
Right.
A lot of them are terrible crimes, but they're rather small and repetitious.
Mm-hmm.
But those are the crimes that ruin a community.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, even the big ones, they'll say, like Lake and Riley's rapist murderer was described as a man from Athens, Georgia. Yeah, Athens, Georgia, Venezuela.
Right.
This guy, they tell you he's a migrant here, but they could just left migrant out. You wouldn't have known.
Well, a migrant doesn't mean a migrant is very general. Is he an illegal immigrant? Is he a regular?
They say he came in illegally.
Oh, they say that. Okay. Yeah.
That's what I have a feeling. There's another one today that I noted. I keep trying to get the American people to understand there are 3 categories of illegal aliens in this country. They're the ones who we intercept, don't interview, and let them in.
Mm-hmm.
That's about 10 million.
Mm-hmm.
Then there are the gotaways. They're the ones that we see. We write down something. 5'9", brown, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We got about 3 million of those.
Mm-hmm.
And there are 2 that appear in the paper today. They don't know how they came in, when they came in. The estimates before they began suppressing this by places like MIT and Harvard is you can figure there are as many we don't know as there are people we apprehended. That would mean, if they're right, another 10 million.
Yeah.
4 million, 5 million. We don't know who they are. I suspect that Oswaldo Madrid Verduro is one we don't know how or when he came in. We just know he's illegal. Plenty of, and those are the worst ones, because those are the ones that largely, unless they do it on their own, they're the ones that the cartels get premium for.
Right.
So you're Chinese, you're the red Chinese government, and you want to get in people like the ones that had hooked up with Cuomo, and they've got hooked up with Feinstein, and they've got hooked up with Swalwell, and they've got hooked up, I'm sure, with a whole bunch of others. You pay a couple $100,000 for that.
Well, May, you're not even counting in the terrorists yet that got in the country.
Terrorists come in now all the time.
Right.
Just gives them a bundle.
The cartel gets that's the most money that the cartel gets.
Correct, and it's the longest relationship.
Yeah.
The ISIS connection goes back to the Bush administration.
Yep.
That they were trying to break it up.
Mm-hmm.
So the aliens in New York, you should know, Mayor Adams is very proud of this. Even after they get arrested, that doesn't bar you getting funds from the city.
Nope.
I mean, why should an arrest interrupt without giving you money you're not entitled to? We're giving it to you anyway. You get paid if you come to New York. And then Adams complained. I mean, this is the strangest dialogue. Adam says, New York City is the best sanctuary city in the world. We give you everything. You get free education. You get college education. You get superior health care. You get better accommodations than our own homeless people or veterans. You don't have to work. And I'll give you, just for the hell of it, a credit card. And then he says, Biden, give me the money for them. Why are they all coming to New York?
Man, I got one better for you. They get 24/7 park police protection.
Wait. Play that one out again. They get what?
24/7 federal park police protection. I play hockey there, and when I go there, they have
got a stick.
They have they have two huge tent cities, just like in Randall's Island, and they have 24/7 because that's federal land. You know that.
Yeah.
So they have 20.
This is exactly where.
Floyd Bennett Field.
Oh, we were going to go there the other day, and we ended up going to Nathan's instead.
Yeah, they have 24/7 park police, 24/7 park police protection. Yep. And mind you, there's NYPD aviation on Floyd Bennett Field. There's
used to go there all the time.
There's a Marine base. There's all kinds of government organizations, and they're there with just illegal immigrants.
Where Fiorello LaGuardia landed, that gave him the impulse to build LaGuardia Airport, the other part of Queens.
Wow.
I'll tell that story when I come back.
Yeah.
Short break.
We're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50% and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free.
We are back. I'm keeping China behind me tonight to remind you. China is the purple splotch at the bottom there. I think it should be bright red to indicate communism and murder. And you can keep Russia, lighter red for the same thing. But China wins. I mean, China's killed a lot more people than Russia. Well, maybe if you put Stalin in, it gets. You do a contest between China, Russia, and Nazi Germany. China wins. And of the three, Hitler, Stalin, and Xi, who's the president, the only one who got a heroes parade in the United States is the head of China. And thank God it wasn't the Canyon of Heroes in New York. Then I don't know what would happen if they did that to my Canyon of Heroes. They did it in the red Chinese city of San Francisco. Brought that way by Harris and Pelosi and Newsom and Fang's Swalwell and Feinstein's a Chinese 19-year driver while she was on the Intelligence Committee. Maybe occasionally she said something in the car, like Hunter Biden, maybe occasionally picked up some of the stolen by his father classified documents that he passed every day, get into his car, for which they want to put Donald Trump in prison, but not him and his father, which tells you live in a communist country. So this is hard to believe, right? That Kamala actually said that free speech is a privilege. Now, that is the demarcation line between democracy, and by democracy, I don't just mean rule of the majority. I mean democracy defined like we do in the United States as a republic with protections for the minority and a rule of law. I think Tapper is also upset about this, but he doesn't have the guts to put it all together because he might lose his job. I mean, he's hearing things like this all the time. He's an American. How do you not stop being a Democrat when you hear this? Listen to this.
I know you wrote to Twitter and the CEO, Jack Dorsey, and asked him to take away the president's Twitter handle, his account. How is that not a violation of free speech? I mean, the president has the same rights that you have, that I have, and how would that not just be a slippery slope where they have to ban, you know, half of the people on Twitter?
I've heard that argument, but here's the thing, Jake. First of all, a corporation, which is what Twitter is, it does not have it has obligations, and in this case, Twitter has terms of use policy. And their terms of use dictate who receives the privilege of speaking on that platform and who does not. And Donald Trump has clearly violated the terms of use, and there should be a consequence for that. Not to mention the fact that he has used his platform, being the President of the United States, in a way that has been about inciting fear and potentially inciting harm against a witness to what might be a crime against our country and our democracy. And for that reason, I do believe that that it's clear that he has violated the terms of use, and I'm asking that Twitter does what it has done in previous occasions, which is to revoke someone's privilege because they've not lived up to the advantages of the privilege.
And now we know they did that with tremendous pressure, according to Zuckerberg and about 40 witnesses from her administration and her. What a bunch of damn liars and communists. Huh? I mean, unbelievable. Unbelievable. Well, also, it's amazing how Harris and all of her people who hate Jewish people are blaming the absolute cold-blooded murder, which is a war crime, on Bibi Netanyahu. He murdered the 6 hostages. I kind of missed that. I didn't see him with the gun shooting them down or throwing them into a common grave like Muhammad did back 1,400 years ago. I didn't see that. And actually, Hamas disputes it. Maybe you'll have to change your mind. Hamas disputes it because Hamas takes credit for killing them in cold blood. So an American was killed in cold blood by a terrorist group holding him hostages. And the reaction of the United States is, Bibi, join the ceasefire. And then communists like Randy Weingarten say that Bibi Netanyahu killed the hostages. And Harris, when asked, says Bibi has to do more to bring about a ceasefire. And Biden said he isn't doing enough. In other words, his failure to agree to a ceasefire against a country that attacked his country without warning, breaking a ceasefire, and murdering men, women, and children, and then murdering in cold blood hostages. Unless he agrees to stop defending his country, he's the one who killed the hostages. Now, none of that is logical. None of it's true. But when you're a communist, you deal in propaganda and you deal in lies and you deal in untruths like Orwell's 1984. The opposite of what you say is true. Now, isn't that so with Harris and Biden? Whatever you think of Bibi Netanyahu, the act of killing a hostage in cold blood, like killing a prisoner in cold blood, supersedes whatever it is you think Bibi did. Whatever Bibi did, which, by the way, is completely consistent, except for Clooney's wife, who says it's against international law. That halfwit is prosecuting the case. Bibi, you got a great chance. I mean, Clooney did a great job in protecting himself against getting exposed as the hitman on Biden, didn't he? Whoever said actors are smart. And whoever said you should listen to what they say about national security. What the hell do they know about national security? They spend their life making believe, which is why they like Harris. She's not a person. She's a make-believe. Unburdened by what might have been. That's me. And that means I don't have to read history. Tell you a secret, I don't read it all. Ask someone to examine the cackle and see what that is. It comes from something not normal. Something definitely not normal. So the real question is Harris worse for Israel than Biden? And the conclusion of people who care about Israel is, by far, Biden had a historical semi-connection to Europe. When the Democratic Party told him to be loyal to Israel, he was. When they tell him not to be, he isn't, but at least he had a period when he was. She's never been loyal to Israel except quickly reciting it and then making all kinds of attacks on the leadership of Israel at a time of war. And then, of course, Senator Schumer, the biggest traitor of all, at a time of war, has called for the removal of their head of state. What a time to do that to a country fighting for its survival. And Harris made her position very clear when she boycotted Bibi's presence here. At least you'd think she'd want to meet him and get to know him and hear his side of the story. I would think our greatest ally would get a chance before you condemn them and say they aren't doing enough. They'd get a chance to sit down and talk to you face to face to try to convince you were wrong. But you see, she doesn't do it because she's not capable of that. She'd have to bring walls with her. She'd have to pre-record it. She'd have to edit it. And that's why for 47 days she hasn't talked to the press. What do you say that this country would disgrace itself if it elected somebody like Harris? She won't talk to us. We don't care. We'll elect her anyway. She won't answer our questions. She won't answer questions from a press that is stuck right up her backside. She won't even answer their questions. They couldn't be more favorable. They'll as Dana Trump bash indicated, they'll ask anything you want. They won't press any answers. And if you really don't like it, they'll take it out. And occasionally they'll ask you multiple choice questions. And occasionally they'll give you the answer. And then after it's over, they'll say, what a great job you did. Actually, for the life of me, I do not know what she's afraid of. I understand what she's afraid of in the debate with Trump. But even there, I mean, she's going in there. I'm going into a fight with the heavyweight champion. But if I can stand up for 10 rounds, I'm going to be the winner, no matter what. Even if I come out half dead, I'm going to win every round. Doesn't matter. I don't have to throw a punch. Every punch he throws is going to be declared illegal. I may even win by his being disqualified. But God forbid, before he gets disqualified, he might hit me with a punch and knock me out. That's what she's worried about. Because she got everything going for her in the debate with Trump. She's got the worst network in the world, the most dishonest, the most crooked, the most pro-communist and Democrat. The one that already has gone overboard for her over and over and over again. He's got rules that favor her completely. The only thing she didn't get was taking notes in, which should have ended the debate. But I think we're wasting time with a debate with a candidate that thinks they have to bring notes. I think when you say, and you're running for president of the United States, I got to bring notes to the debate, that's when you have to resign as a candidate, as intellectually inferior, as too insecure to be president. I don't know, maybe she's insecure rather than intellectually inferior. Maybe you don't fail the bar exam for being insecure. So maybe it's both. But president? President?
So the debate rules have been announced.
Oh God.
No open mics. ABC releases rules for the first presidential debate. No audience, no notes, muted mics. It'll be aired live on ABC September 10th. Both campaigns have accepted the network's debate rules, which include 90-minute format with 2 commercial breaks. Only the 2 moderators will ask questions. A coin toss decided
Can
that
they ask questions of each other?
no. No questions between candidates. Mics muted when not speaking.
Have him ask a question, because he'll ask the only relevant questions.
Coin toss decided Trump gives the final closing statement.
Ooh,
No opening statements.
good.
Good for Kamala.
No, that's good. I don't like opening statements. I
Kind of-
never liked them even at trial. That nobody knows anything at all.
2-minute closing statements.
Those are killers.
Candidates must stand at the podiums.
But that won't hurt her. She's a healthy person.
No props or notes allowed.
No notes. So that's
No
gonna
prop.
kill her.
No
Or
or notes.
sneak them in.
Well, I wonder if will they get a pen and paper for during the debate?
Well, you can do that. Yeah, usually you do.
Usually you can, right? Yeah. Muted
Every
mics would
debate
not
I've
speak.
ever been at, I think, had a pad and some pencils there.
But she wanted the mics to be hot. She wanted the mics turned on.
You couldn't even bring in your. I remember this though. At two different debates, you couldn't bring in your own pad if you liked a certain pad, that you could flip easier. They wouldn't let you bring it in for fear that you'd have notes in it. So you had to use the paper they supplied.
Notes hidden on page like 30.
Yeah, but there might be people who do that. Well, look
Or invisible pen. You had to throw water on it to see them.
human beings. When they gave Hillary the questions and didn't tell Bernie Sanders. But Bernie's the kind of guy that you can turn around and black-sided with, and he'll say thank you.
Well, that's what happened.
Because he's not a man.
The Democrat Party, the DNC did to Bernie
RFK
Sanders.
Jr. wouldn't take it. RFK Jr. said,
Well,
if you cheat, screw you.
to be fair, RFK Jr. got pushed around by the DNC too. A little bit.
What do you mean to be fair? He got pushed around.
Oh yeah. But he did take it though. He
for
left.
a while.
Trump. That's the difference between Trump and I know we love RFK, but the difference between Trump and RFK and Bernie Sanders, the Republican Party tried to do to Trump what the Democrat Party did do to Sanders and what they did do to RFK Jr., right?
But RFK bolted.
He left, yeah.
I mean, you wanted him to do it right away, a little faster than he did it. I mean, courage takes a little while to develop. Plus,
no, I'm just saying
Kennedy
the party
tradition that Trump didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, Kennedy, Trump's the Democrat who never was in politics. Kennedy has a 40-year tradition of being a Democrat, and he gets and he's thrown out by his family.
Yeah, that was too bad.
I don't think you can discount that too much.
Yeah, but it's a different situation than Sanders too. I guess Bernie Sanders 2016 is the best comparison for Trump.
2022.
Yeah, and 2020 too. Exactly.
Multi-millionaire communist Bernie Sanders was as phony as Kamala Harris.
Yeah, and he let him push him around. He was
for the good of communism.
Yeah.
Where he went on his honeymoon. Why don't we figure out if they go there on their honeymoon, they're communists, who in their right mind would go to Soviet? When he went there, they were all starving there, and he wasn't bringing them food. DeBlasio, who we don't even mention because he's completely irrelevant, went to Cuba on his honeymoon, and his mother was a member of the Communist Party in Boston. And he helped the Sandinistas against the United States. What else do you need to know about him? Would you like to know he was the worst mayor in the history of the city? But he was, I mean, yes, he was a communist. Yes, yes, yes. And until the deserter Walls, described by his minister as a coward, until he answers one of the 50 questions about his service to China, we will, for the good of our country, out of an excess of caution, consider him a communist plant. Dr. Maria would like to focus us.
You know that for 4 years, you and I had a radio show together, and
I do. What do you think? I'm Biden? I don't remember. Best radio show in the world.
Talked about China quite a bit. We talked about Chinese spies quite a bit.
You had an unbelievable breakthrough with the first Chinese woman.
Yes, no, but we talked about the spies in our country. You mentioned tonight Dianne Feinstein's driver of 20 years.
On that when it happened.
Right. And we did a number of shows of people posing as Chinese tourists, but they were actually Chinese nationals trying to get on our military bases. In just the past decade alone, there's been dozens of attempts, the most recent ones being in Alaska. They tried to get on 3 different military bases. So we have a real problem. And you knew more than anyone that Joe Biden was compromised. Yes. But we knew Joe Biden was compromised. I never thought he could get a security clearance when he decided
when you pointed that out.
Yeah, when he decided he was going to run for president in 2019. So, anyways, it's a real problem. I'm very suspicious of Tim Walz, and now the Oversight Committee is starting to take a look at his trips to China. But on a totally different subject, Mayor Giuliani.
Can I ask one other question, though?
Sure.
You also publish on your show that people should watch all of the places where the Chinese have bought property near our sensitive military bases, which coincide with the balloon that Biden allowed and escorted over America for 5-6 days. It took pictures of it.
Yeah. And there's no reason we can bar any foreign country, especially hostile foreign countries, from buying our property, but we haven't. That map was so impressive to visually see all the Chinese property near our military.
We're going to borrow it tomorrow night if you don't mind.
No problem. Real quickly, a 14-year-old boy at Appalachia High School today shot and killed 4 people, injuring 9 others. He was on the radar by the FBI. He threatened to shoot up that school before. Again, the FBI have failed us. They did nothing about that doctor who molested gymnast after gymnast.
Yeah, they just criticized.
This is a repeated story of the FBI, and it just came out that they absolutely knew about this 14-year-old.
And they're the ones investigating the attempted assassination, the first one in 3 generations of a president or presidential candidate. And they tell us they won't have anything until December, which is long after he continues to be under threat from the same incompetent group that led to the first attempt on his life, which didn't succeed for no fault of theirs. And then there's also been a person arrested since then who wanted to kill him. And we're trusting the same FBI to investigate that.
Well, as Congressman Tim Burchett pointed out on both of our shows, that the FBI quickly cremated the body of Crooks, the shooter, and bleached the scene very quickly on a crime scene when multiple agencies wanted to take a look at that crime scene.
They also announced after 2 hours, you were with me when I was told that. You remember my reaction. Can you tell us the details of much too early in the investigation? Can you tell us much too early in the investigation? Can you tell us when the show much too early in the investigation? Were there other people involved and was it a conspiracy? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
How do you you're not even able to figure out when the guy started doing all this in 2 hours? How do you rule out that it was a conspiracy unless you know that for the next 50 years you can rule out it's a conspiracy like they did with JFK?
Right. And how is it nobody was fired? Just recently, 4 people were put on suspension. We don't know. That could be suspension with pay. Nobody's been fired.
Nobody's going to be fired. Look at Strzok and Page. They were engaged in trying to overthrow our government. Admitted it on tape, and they weren't fired. Look at the number 2 guy in the FBI who lied. Look at Comey, who signed a false FISA declaration.
Hillary Clinton in the DNC with a false dossier.
There's a point here that I've made a few times as a former prosecutor and criminal law student. There's a reason for punishment called deterrence. Not just deterring the individual, but deterring others. I believe that if they had come down hard on the group that I just mentioned, a lot of this would be cut out.
Yeah.
Because they do get scared. But they're privileged. They know they're not going to go to jail. Anything going to happen to Cuomo and Hochul for employing a spy forever? Nothing. They're already saying, "Oh, we didn't know. How could we know?"
Hochul's actually taking credit for exposing it.
Yeah, but I mean, meanwhile, she did everything she said, including not give any credit to Taiwan. We bought masks from China.
I know.
China gave us the virus, and then they gave us the masks that don't work.
Yeah. Well, can I just say one thing about that? President Trump at the time said, we've given up too much of our manufacturing. When we look at pharmaceuticals, it's China and India who are making everything, including our aspirin. China makes our masks, our gowns. It was an opportunity for Americans to step up and start producing this stuff at home. We need to do better.
I have a suggestion I'm going to make, and I'll have the whole group react to it and tell me I'm crazy. But the British government has now threatened Israel with not giving them arms if they continue to attack Hamas. Now, this is a hell of a thing to do. Hamas commits a war crime. They kill an American. They kill all the other people. And then you give them what they want. What is wrong with these people?
Biden and Harris are so against Netanyahu, who is defending his people. Why don't they ever call out Hamas? Why don't they demand Hamas release the hostages?
Because they have a lot more money behind Iran than Israel. I mean, we've funded Iran 20 times what we've given to Israel. We call Israel our ally, but we give the money to Iran. We call Israel our ally, but we never hold Iran responsible for the 130 attacks that were done by their proxies. We call Israel our ally, and we pretend that Hamas did this on its own without Iran involved. And they claim to be loyal Americans, and they don't do anything about getting our hostages back. One threat to the Ayatollah's head, and we get him back. Can we get ourselves past the next couple of months and get a decent, tough, strong, loyal individual in the White House? All it takes with them is to sit down and say, have a temper tantrum. I've had enough. From the time you held the hostages and embarrassed us and gave them back when Reagan became president, after killing 1,000 Americans at least with that son of a bitch Soleimani and others, after all your own people that you slaughtered and others that you slaughtered, after the 150 attacks that we haven't responded to, after the attack in Israel that you organized, after the attacks that you're organizing right now, and after slaughtering our citizens and hostages, we got 6 other hostages. If anything happens to them, Mr. Ayatollah, you phony religious bigot, you insane son of a bitch, we're going to be looking for you. And we're going to find out if you really like those virgins or not. I mean, you go talk to Muhammad and see if he was actually bullshitting you when he told you about the virgins. But you're going to find out. We get a president like that, and they piss in their pants, excuse the expression. Why the hell do you think they gave the hostages back when Reagan became president? Because we got a man as president. We got someone who's loyal to the United States of America, that doesn't make a mockery of the oath that he's going to preserve, protect, and defend the United States. Can Biden say he did that when he gave up the Bagram Air Base? Can Harris say she did that when she agrees with it and calls Afghanistan, which murdered Americans because of them, a success? Of course they can't say that. And can you say it if you vote for them? You vote for them and you're screwing us, the loyal Americans. We're not talking about voting for somebody with an alternative political theory. We're talking about voting people with a theory that wants to destroy the United States of America as we know it. Our whole show today has been about that. No free speech. It's a privilege. It's a privilege. Well, then go work for Google. Or Maduro has openings. You're probably too stupid to get hired by them. They'll exploit you. They're not going to hire you. What a tragedy. What a tragedy. We'll take a short break and we'll have a little bit of soccer time.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep green, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because we like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee.
Well, there's a town hall meeting involving the man who should be our president. With if he had been reelected, as he was in 2020, we wouldn't be talking about 120,000 Israelis killed or a couple of 100,000 Ukrainians killed. Neither one of those two things would have taken place. Iran would have been too poor to do it. And Putin, reasonably deterred, proven by the fact that he never attacked under Trump, but he did under Bush, Biden, and Obama. So just one thing I want to add. There's a rumor that Harris is going to take the position, and it comes from Democrat Congress people, that Harris is going to take the position that if Bibi goes any further in Rafah or Gaza, we're going to cut off our arms supplies. Britain has already threatened. If Biden does it, despite the fact that we're in the middle of an election, despite the fact that it can't get done before the election, we should impeach both of them. We should start an impeachment proceeding against Biden and Harris now for putting in jeopardy the lives of our allies and of Americans who get attacked in the Red Sea 130 times with what I would call, in the indictment papers, Clinton response. Hit an empty field, which we have September 11 coming up, may well have been one of the reasons that bin Laden felt free to attack us the way he did. History does repeat itself unless you try to write it off the way Karl Marx does and the way Kamala Harris does, being unburdened by it. Now, she's a nitwit. The rest of us are not. God bless the people of Israel and of the United States and of Ukraine, all of us. And God bless America. bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze,